December 19, 1944. The snow-covered forests of the Ardennes echoed with the thunder of German armor as Adolf Hitler launched one last desperate gamble, the Battle of the Bulge. Veteran crews inside Panther and Tiger tanks expected another familiar hunt. American tanks, they believed, were slow, lightly armed, and easy to trap. Yet on the frozen roads ahead, something entirely unexpected was waiting for them. It did not possess the thick armor of a Tiger. It did not carry the intimidating silhouette of a Sherman jumbo. In fact, many German tank commanders initially dismissed it as just another lightly protected American vehicle. But within moments, reports began arriving from the front. A fast-moving enemy tank destroyer had appeared, fired with deadly precision, and vanished before German gunners could even rotate their turrets. Time and again, the same mystery repeated itself. Crews described a machine that seemed to materialize from nowhere, strike with astonishing speed, and disappear before retaliation became possible. That vehicle was the M18 Hellcat, the fastest fully tracked armored fighting vehicle of the Second World War. Its greatest weapon was not simply its powerful 76mm gun, but the revolutionary doctrine behind its creation. While Germany invested enormous resources into building heavier tanks capable of dominating head-on battles, the United States pursued an entirely different philosophy. Speed would become armor. Mobility would become survival. Flexibility would defeat brute force. Military planners, engineers, and commanders were betting that a machine capable of outrunning almost every enemy tank could compensate for its thin armor through tactical superiority. It was a bold idea, one many considered dangerously optimistic. Yet as the war intensified across France, Belgium, and Germany, German crews increasingly discovered that catching a Hellcat was often harder than destroying one. Behind every sudden ambush and every disappearing silhouette lay a story of innovation, industrial power, battlefield adaptation, and extraordinary courage. To understand why German panzers struggled to catch the M18 Hellcat, we must return to the battlefield where speed itself became a weapon. The origins of the M18 Hellcat stretched back to the difficult lessons learned during the opening years of the Second World War. German blitzkrieg campaigns demonstrated that armored warfare was evolving at unprecedented speed. American planners recognized that enemy breakthroughs could not always be stopped by equally heavy tanks. Instead, they envisioned specialized tank destroyer units capable of rushing to threatened sectors, engaging hostile armor, and relocating before becoming targets themselves. This philosophy shaped every aspect of the Hellcat's design. Engineers deliberately sacrificed heavy armor to reduce weight, allowing the vehicle's powerful Continental R975 radial engine to propel it to nearly 55 miles per hour, around 89 kilometers per hour. No other fully tracked armored vehicle of the war could consistently match such speed. Equipped with a 76mm M1 gun, torsion bar suspension, and an open-topped turret that offered exceptional visibility, the Hellcat became a machine built for rapid decisions rather than prolonged slugging matches. When production began in mid-1943, more than 2,500 Hellcats would eventually leave American factories. Their arrival coincided with the Allied advance following the Normandy landings. As American forces raced across France during the summer of 1944, supply lines struggled to keep pace, and armored units frequently encountered determined German resistance. Here, the Hellcat demonstrated exactly why its designers had embraced mobility over armor. Rather than engaging Panthers and Tigers in frontal duels, Hellcat commanders relied on reconnaissance, concealment, and coordinated movement. Crews exploited hedgerows, forests, villages, and rolling terrain to approach unseen. Once a vulnerable flank or rear appeared, the 76mm gun fired armor-piercing rounds capable of penetrating many German vehicles under favorable conditions. Immediately after firing, the Hellcat accelerated away, often changing positions before German gunners could identify its new location. German after-action. Reports increasingly noted the frustration caused by these rapid attacks. Heavy Panther and Tiger tanks possessed formidable firepower and thicker armor, but their greater weight limited acceleration and maneuverability on narrow European roads. Their large silhouettes also made concealment more difficult. The Hellcat exploited every one of those disadvantages, forcing German commanders to fight an enemy that refused to remain stationary. One of the Hellcat's finest moments came during the Battle of Aricourt in September 1944. Dense fog reduced visibility, creating chaotic conditions across the battlefield. American armored forces, including M18, equipped tank destroyer battalions, coordinated with artillery and aggressive reconnaissance to isolate advancing German units. Rather than allowing Panthers to dictate the engagement, American crews repeatedly maneuvered into advantageous firing positions. German attacks lost momentum as vehicles were struck from unexpected directions before their commanders fully understood the situation. Months later, during the Battle of the Bulge, Hellcat crews again proved their value, operating in freezing temperatures and against overwhelming German pressure. They served as highly mobile fire brigades, reinforcing endangered sectors, delaying armored columns, and covering withdrawals. Their ability to arrive quickly, where needed, often compensated for their vulnerability. Although a single direct hit could destroy a Hellcat, many survived precisely because they rarely remained in one place long enough to become easy targets. The Hellcat's success ultimately reflected more than engineering alone. It represented the strength of American industry, flexible doctrine, well-trained crews, reliable logistics, and combined arms coordination with infantry, artillery, and aircraft. German panzers were powerful machines, but power alone could not guarantee victory against an opponent that mastered movement, timing, and initiative. On Europe's battlefields, the M18 Hellcat proved that sometimes the most dangerous vehicle was not the strongest, but the one that could never be caught. When the fighting in Europe ended in 1945, the M18 Hellcat had earned a reputation unlike any other American armored vehicle of the Second World War. It was never designed to overpower German heavy tanks with thicker armor or larger guns. Instead, it proved that speed, intelligent tactics, and adaptability could be just as decisive as raw firepower. Skilled crews used the Hellcats' exceptional mobility to choose when and where to fight, turning surprise and maneuver into powerful weapons against seemingly stronger opponents. The Hellcat also showcased the strength of American industry and military innovation. Thousands of specialized vehicles rolled off production lines while engineers refined designs based on frontline experience, supported by reliable logistics and evolving battlefield doctrine. These improvements gave Allied forces a significant strategic advantage. Although Germany continued producing increasingly powerful tanks, those machines demanded greater resources, maintenance, and time, luxuries the Third Reich could no longer afford during the final years of the war. Even today, historians continue debating the effectiveness of the American tank destroyer doctrine. But the M18 Hellcat's legacy remained secure. It consistently fulfilled the role it was built for, striking quickly, exploiting opportunities, and avoiding prolonged battles against superior armor. More than simply the fastest armored vehicle of its era, the Hellcat became a lasting symbol of a timeless military principle. Victory often belongs not to the strongest force, but to the one that can think faster, move faster, and seize the initiative before the enemy can react.